All right, Mike, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being on here. I got Mike here today. He's a student in the Ecom Freedom program. When did you join?
I joined Ecom Freedom in August of 2021, to be
Okay,
exact.
cool.
So
August
2 years
21.
almost now, a little bit over.
Yeah. So about 2 years now, a little bit over 2 years. So how much money have you done on
Yes.
Amazon total sales since then?
In total sales, yes, in total revenue, about $140,000 in revenue.
Now, before we get into this video, I just wanted to mention that this is an honest and unpaid interview. I don't pay, anybody to come onto this channel and share their experiences. Every experience is unique. And also, very importantly, is that any earnings claims that you hear in this interview. So, if the student is mentioning a dollar figure, or if I mention a dollar figure, for example, 10,000, 20,000, or 50,000, it's not a guarantee that you are going to achieve the same result. Nobody can make such a guarantee, obviously, because, business is business, and, some people fail, some people succeed. And honestly, success depends on a lot of factors, including your work that you put into it, the amount that you invest, market conditions, and honestly, sometimes just luck. And with that being said, I hope that you enjoy this success interview.
Since
140,000.
June 14th of last year.
Sweet. So tell us, how'd you get started? Also, how old are you?
I am 26 years old.
26. So you were 24 when you got started. Tell
Yes,
us,
that's
tell us
correct.
where you came from. Tell us what your background was. Were you working like a job that you hated? You wanted freedom. You wanted to start something.
So background, I've always really loved e-commerce. How I kind of started is actually on the eBay side of things. I started selling things, I think when I was about I'm like 18 years old. So I would sell old games I had like in my house, old, stuff or whatever. And I would just kind of have it on there, sell it and ship it, which is awesome. And then I was trying to find a way to really just scale that, right? And with eBay, it's kind of hard. So I was like, trying to search and search, and I found your videos on YouTube, and I came across Amazon FBA, and I was really just like, holy crap, this looks so cool. And I joined a few days after, and just I've been on that game ever since. I started to do product research in October of that, a few months after I joined the Econ Freedom course. And I was just really just like, so just um, excited about it and just so ready to kind of like dive into the product research to find a product. And it took me a few months to actually find one that I could actually stand out with, and was unique with the market and that was actually wanted from the actual market. And ever since then, I've been, speaking with suppliers, launching. I was the whole process with that, selling, learning Amazon advertising, which is a huge curve to actually learn and optimize and actually show profit. Not just lose from the advertising and optimize the campaigns and all that great stuff. And I've just been on that game ever since, and I love it.
Sweet, sweet. So, congrats. So when you were 24, tell me like what your life was. Tell us what your life was before you started.
So before I started, I was working a job about 14 hours a week at a small store like in my town, and I really hated it. And I
14
always had
hours a week, you
AirPods in.
said? 14?
Yeah, it was like part time. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
work any kind of like real job yet. I was still in school. I went to college for information technology. So I've always liked stuff with IT and like computers, hardware, software, not code or anything. And I've always enjoyed that. So like, I was a junior in college, and I was trying to find a way out. Not to have to work a actual full time job. And that's how I came across you and Ecom Freedom and Amazon FBA. And yeah, so like I was working there part time. I always had AirPods and I was like hearing podcasts and like on that YouTube. And I was also trying to find a way out really. And that's kind of how I stumbled across you and everything. And I've been just hooked ever since.
Gotcha. So now you're doing Amazon. Okay. So tell us about your journey. So you went from 0 to 130, 40, you said 140, something like that.
Yeah, 148K. Yep.
140. And okay.
Yes.
So tell us so did you mention that your first product that you launched when you joined Ecom Freedom, was it your first product that became a winner, or was it your second or third?
First product, and it wasn't right away.
Hey, I love that, dude. But the past few student interviews, everybody watching, the past few student interviews that I've recorded, they all said first product was a winner. I mean, I gotta say I'm proud of that because that's not what happened with me. That's not what happened with I'm pretty sure it's not what happened with my boy Jeff either. Like it's not a common thing to succeed with your first product at all. And I'm almost thinking, I'm like, damn, like if we're getting people to succeed with their first product, it might not, I know it's great for them, but you kind of have to fail a few times, like in life,
Right.
you just have to have a few failures to like really learn from them. And, what are you going to do if you don't, if you never had a failure, then you might think that everything you do is kind of turned into gold, and it might. I'm not saying it doesn't, right? But yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, speaking of that, Dan, the first for like, I mean, I would say the first 5 months was I thought it failed, basically.
Oh,
I
okay.
launched, right. So June 14th, I launched, and it was up for about 4 months. I was like, I mean, I was overspending in advertising, and I thought I had a like offer that was great. And then like a few months later, I was starting to really like, dive into analyzing the actual product, the listing, the photos, the title. I'm like, wow, this is actually like kind of crap. The photos were kind of like, shitty and like Photoshop. I really didn't, have anyone like actually take high quality photos. And then like, like, I mean, afterwards I was able to actually solve that by hiring a photographer. Really kind of studied the overall market and saw like, what, I mean, was wanted in the reviews, the positive reviews, the bad reviews, the average reviews. And I was able to really like, make a USP, like a unique selling proposition and show it off in the actual photos through text in about, 4 straight photos. And by about October of last year, really started to take off because like, I mean, like I revamped the entire product, the title, the bullet points, the actual photos itself, and it just went huge after that.
So you
But it took
mentioned
five
that.
months.
So it took 5 months, right? So you mentioned that the reason why the product didn't take off at the beginning is it, and tell me if I'm getting this correct, it's because the listing needed work. Is that why?
Yes, I mean, like need a lot of work because from the actual market, which now I'm able to actually say happily, I mean, I'm in the top 10 of actually like who sells the product. I mean, like in the actual market, because last year there was 5 other sellers who were just selling insane amounts. I would say, well, not insane amounts. I'd say between 8 and like, 9 units a day, 10, 12 or whatever. And like now I'm like way ahead of them. And I'm averaging like, top four, I must say between top 10 and 11. I mean, in the actual like, the like, the best seller rank or whatever. And I mean, yeah, like I would say because of that, I was able to fully just revamp the photos, the title, and after like I'm having reviews too, right? And like I'm selling it at a higher point. I'm sorry, higher price point, than the other, sellers on the market because I want to, I mean, like have a brand that's like high quality, that really stands out, and that like I mean, and as you show us in the course, to have a brand that really like like instills its its value, its overall like it's high quality, and it'll actually like last long term and like not just break or crack within the first few uses, which was something I really avoided.
Yeah.
So I'm after like a few months of trying and optimizing advertising and like adding a few more campaigns and like stuff like that. I finally seemed to have gotten it, and I was able to actually see profit, which is huge. I'm like,
Cool. So,
whew.
can I ask you this? So why was the listing at first crap? Like, was it, I mean, did we teach something wrong in the course or what happened?
No, no, it's not you guys at Ecom Freedom because it was, like you guys, I mean, you guys, show everything what you have to do. It's just I kind of was a little bit sloppy with the actual photos itself. And like, I mean, overall, the title was great, I thought, but the photos itself were a bit weak. And it was honestly like just with, Photoshop, because I was trying to save money at first. It was a huge
Oh,
mistake because
yeah.
actually, so I mean, like trying to save cash in the beginning to,
But how
kind of
much
just
did
like
you end up spending like to actually get good photos done eventually?
I think $180 to get like 6 high quality photos in
How
China
much?
because I had my I mean $180 because my supplier
180
in China
bucks.
actually yeah China price because China actually had like a photographer there at the manufacturer who would actually like take the photos
Wow.
for you.
Wow.
And then I was
So you spent basically 4 or 5 months wondering what the hell's wrong with your product. And all this time you
yeah,
could have paid $180 to fix the photos and it would have been good.
pretty much yeah, my
Wow.
mistake there. So big lesson I learned.
Yeah. Okay. So for everybody watching, make sure you don't cheap out on photos. And obviously Mike here, he got photos for $180. So you're mentioning that there was a Chinese photographer. Is that your supplier? They had a photographer or there was a company?
Yes. It was my supplier in China. I mean, like who actually had a like on the team over there, a like a photographer. So like over there, it's much obviously cheaper to have it done. Here, I'd say probably between like $400 to $500 over here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, over there was $180, so it was a
Or
huge
more.
cost savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, or more. So like, it was huge for
Wow.
cost savings.
That's great. Actually, I never thought of that because I've always gotten photos with like, US or European freelancers.
Right. Which yeah,
Yeah, which is the standard. But I guess if your supplier offered that, then, but it's good
because
that
I
you
asked them and they
persisted.
said
It's good that you persisted because most people, they would have kind of, you know, after about a few months are like, this shit is a failure. This product's done, you know?
Right. That's what I thought. And
Yeah.
like it was days where like I would feel a little bit like down, like, oh my God, I failed. This is not working. Like, what am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? I still have units in the warehouse. But I said, you know what? And I'm gonna see if I could really just find a way, because I thought really like deep in the heart that like, like I have a superior product. And say like and like it was like a unique kit with a bundle with a few extra like stuff that's not offered in the market, a few extra like accessories that's not offered. And if I kind of like, really just like, rebrand and just reshape the overall offer to make it unique and stand out,
Mhm.
I'm gonna, and I thought it would just fully pop out. And then sure enough, it did about 4 or 5 months later.
So who was the one that told you to improve the photos? Was that one of the mentors? Was that Jeff?
I think it was Jeff or Andrew. Yeah, it was one of
Okay.
those.
Okay. So Jeff told you,
Yeah.
okay. So our mentor basically told you like what to do. Like we didn't just leave you to basically wait for 4 or 5 months and figure out, like play like this mystery game in your head of like, what's wrong with my listing?
No, never.
Okay.
Nope. It was a long whole way. I had Jeff to help out a lot, and then had Andrew at the time. And
Okay.
then he was a huge help with
Okay.
everything.
So
On my
tell
journey.
us, how has your life changed? Honestly. And I know, and I want to also, before actually we get into this, I want to, since I'm always super transparent, you know, with an e-commerce business, it's not 100% profit margin. It's a 30% profit margin. That's what you aim for. In the first year, it can be
Yeah.
much less, you know, it can be much less, especially with the first order. First order, it can be break even or 5%, right? As you build up your listing and everything. So how much did you profit on 130K?
I mean, 100 and yeah, so about that, I would say, like, so like not counting overall expenses with the business, I would say just after advertising, about 40 or so $1,000 profit, like
40K
from
and
that
then 40K.
with two ASINs.
And then you mentioned not counting expenses with the business. What's that?
Like, like emails, like with the overall brand, with software I have or anything like that, like, Jungle Scout.
Yeah.
Like, with the
But how
like,
much is that? I mean, that's
like,
not that much. That's like a max of
no, it's a few
5K.
$100.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's not much at all. I mean, it's really, really small, but it's still an expense overall,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like the top line, really, not the bottom line, net profit. But it
yeah.
was still, I made a lot, from that launch alone. Like from a few ASINs I have, and it's been huge.
So in 1 year, you can say that you've 10x'd your return from the course.
Oh, 100%. I'd say that more than that.
More than that. So, okay, now tell
Yeah.
us why. Actually, this is what I was going to ask you before this. How has your life changed? So, of course, for some people, you know, they kind of, you know, same life, you know, they're happy with their life and they're just continuing to work on the business. Some people, obviously, look, it's 140K and it's your first year of sales, first 12 months, and you profited 40. Obviously, you're aware you want to reinvest into the business. You're not living super lux, but you do have a new sense of freedom in your life where you're not tied and you're not wondering, what do I do? And you're obviously, you know, the whole point of everything that I do is to free people from slavery, from economic slavery. So I hope, can you share with us, do you feel like you're not a slave anymore, or at least less of a slave, you know?
Yeah. That's actually, yeah. So I would say from that question, I would say like, I don't feel like I have like any kind of like, slave in me anymore.
Yeah.
I feel more free.
Yeah.
And and I'm still young, I'm still at home actually to save money and just like, put all it like in the business again, like more inventory,
Smart.
like more ASINs, launch. So I'm gonna hopefully stay home. Hopefully in the next year max, and then I'm gonna like, leave and just like, just see a world, explore, hopefully with all this freedom I'm gonna have. More so after my like second year, third year, fourth year in econ freedom, and just really experience life that way. But in the overall start, obviously there's still taxes, there's still other fees or stuff like that. So I'm trying to just, like, take all the, net profit earnings and just, all of it. I'm just trying to just like, just reinvest
Reinvest.
it.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Yeah.
then you're not going to
Like,
pay, you're not going to pay any tax if you reinvest everything. That's great.
exactly. So that's another point.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm paying taxes on that, and I'm smart about it too. Because yeah, like, obviously I want to, spend a small amount of it, but I'm like, you know what? It's honestly not worth it. 'Cause I'm smart now, and like, a year or so, I can be, so much more further along with more ASINs, with more earnings every month. So I can use, a small chunk of that, for like a lifestyle, for like a new car, and I've always wanted and like a Audi R8, but not quite there yet.
How tall
Hopefully
are
like a
you?
year or so I could 5'7".
Okay, yeah, you'd fit in an Audi R8. You know, that was my
All
dream
right.
car. If you watch my earliest videos,
Oh,
back in
okay.
2017, 2018, I was writing, like, I was sharing
Okay.
my goals and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna have an Audi R8 by this year. What's interesting is that I said I was gonna have an Audi R8, I think by the end of 2018, and I made the video in 2017, and I shared it with people, and I was 21 years old at the time. This was a while ago. And what's interesting is that I did actually reach all my goals at the end of 2018, and I did have the money, more than enough, for whatever car that I wanted. From all of my online businesses, so that's when I had my Amazon business, and then I launched, at the time it was called Amazon Freedom, which is today Ecom Freedom. Was doing a lot of affiliate stuff as well. So I did have the money. However, I test drove the Audi R8, and I felt like a
Oh,
freaking, like, just a snail in there. I was like, ugh,
oh,
and I was like, it was just not good. I'm 6'2", so I'm just
okay.
a
So,
big guy. I'm 220 pounds, 6'2". So I'm like, so I'm like, this is not. And the plus, it was super stressful going over all the bumps. Like any little bump in the road, it's like a heart attack. You have like a freaking anxiety attack.
oh,
So
right.
I
So
was
low to the
like, I
ground.
came back to the dealership and I was like, guys, do you have anything else? And they're like, actually, we just got this car, brand new from Germany, just got off the ship, and it was an Audi
Oh,
S5. It was an S5 convertible.
okay.
And I'm like,
Nice.
okay, let's try. He's like, you want to test? And as soon as I got in there, man, oh my God, I've never driven a car like that in my life. It was like, I put the top down. It was like a June, Canada, Vancouver, beautiful day, mountains. And I remember just feeling like such a boss in that car, like red leather seats and everything. I have that car to this day. I just drove it from up into the mountains, from Vancouver.
Oh,
So
it's amazing.
yeah, so that, and it's just the longer, it's not like a Lambo or anything like that, right? So it's like much more chill to drive, and it's also half the price. The
Right.
Audi at the time, the S5 was 100K. I still think it's 100K, which is interesting because inflation hasn't really hit new cars. Like new cars are about the same price as they used to be. It's interesting. Used cars though,
It's
that's
just the used.
that's a
Yeah,
different
used cars
story.
are up.
Yeah. But
Right.
hey man, R8, R8's cool. It's just I think that in everybody, when they start making money and they have a new level of freedom, they have like a year or two of like just spending money and living all their dreams, if you're making like really good cash. And then after that, you're like, okay, back to business. You're like, back to business. Let me kind of tone it down a bit, and you kind of get it out of you. And I recommend everybody watching this, when you're freeing yourself from economic slavery, and you will if you persist, like Mike, and you don't give up after 3 months, then you get
Yep.
it out of you within the first year. Not like, look, if you're like Mike and you did 40K profit and 140K, maybe not now, but like in a few years, there's going to be a year where you're going to have a few 100K to spend, and so get it all out, just get it all out. Because if you come from a family, I don't know if you come from a family that doesn't have money or didn't have much money. Did you? Or did they have money?
It's middle class, so not
Middle
rich or not
class.
poor, it's just middle class basically in
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, in New
So
York.
I didn't come from
Yeah.
a family that had money. I came from an immigrant family. We had to I watched my parents struggle basically their whole life. Up until like the latter end when I was a teenager. Then like my dad got a good job and things stabilized. But like I didn't. I needed to experience like the luxury things and like their true full freedom. So I bought the Audi. I bought a lifted truck. I bought like 2 motorcycles. I went crazy, and it was a time. It was a time. And so you get rid of that, and then after that you kind of, at the end of that, it's like, well, what keeps you going? Okay, well, it's loving building the business, right? And then also serving people, whether that's through your Amazon business or, for me, it's through helping people free themselves from economic slavery, which is just getting worse and worse. It's significantly worse now than it was when I started. You know,
Yeah,
in that short amount of time, it's
100%.
crazy. In 6 years, it's been 7 years. Obviously that I started pre-COVID, several years pre-COVID, and now with what's going on in the world with inflation, with like all these new weird things going on in the world, and it's just nuts. So I was just discussing with Mike that Mike was mentioning that he was going to stay home and basically because you're 24, you said 26, 24.
26.
26. Yeah. So, I mean,
26, yep.
obviously you have a pull to get out of your house and live on your own, but it is the smart thing to do to work on building your freedom while you have the opportunity that many don't have to, live in a place that's
Right.
paid for already and basically eat, your mom's food or whatever. I mean, that's what I did for a bit. It's not a big deal. There's no shame in that. It's annoying, whatever. Your mom comes in sometimes to talk to you, whatever, but appreciate that. She's not going to be around forever. Right.
A great point, exactly.
Yeah.
That's 100% true. I
Yeah.
mean, like, life's short, sadly, and I feel now that every day kind of flies by even faster. I mean, and everything we're doing, and I'm really trying to enjoy, I mean, the small things of life and the moments we have with our families and friends and
Yeah.
our colleagues.
Exactly. So I think that by 27, you can get out, and then you can move wherever
100%.
you want. And with this business too, the great part about, and I was just talking with Mike off camera, but in the future, my mission has always been to create a financial education platform with the other online businesses, and that's what I'm going to do in 2024. So because I don't think e-commerce is for everybody. I think that for some people Amazon and Shopify is not their thing. So there's also affiliate marketing. You can start an agency, you can start a YouTube channel and kind of build a personal brand. There's many different kind of ways to make money. And so, there's a saying, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. I don't think I have 7. I think I have like 5. I don't really know off the top of my head, but the point is that, okay, it's like money trees. I always say it's like you grow, you got to work on growing. You plant the tree, you got to water it every day, make sure like no pests come and eat your tree or whatever, squirrels don't come and eat it, and then once your tree grows and then, it starts kind of, you can start picking the leaves. So the money off the tree, all you got to do is water it. And then you have to water it less and less over time. Right. I think I explained this concept in the course. And then once that tree is like fully grown and it's just kind of producing a harvest, well, then, you can then plant a new tree, and that would be like a new online business. Or it could also be, you could also apply the same analogy to Amazon. So a new ASIN, a new Amazon product.
Right, second product.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's how, like Jeff, like he went from, and he's from Canada. He's not even from America. And he went from 0 to like 1.5 million per year. That's where he's at now. 1.5 million a year. Yeah. He's got lots of ASINs and he's absolutely killing it. So, I'm happy to, honestly, I'm honored to have, to be able to work with like talent like that, because it's truly the best in the Amazon space. And clearly it shows because you succeeded, and you had eBay experience, but I mean, how much of that did really apply to Amazon? I don't think that much, right? So
not too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are your big goals, like action steps? Okay, is it to launch more ASINs? Are you going to think about maybe expanding to Shopify? Or are you thinking of are you open to other online business models as well?
Yeah. So as of right now, as of right now, I have 3 ASINs. I have just 2 which are active. One has to actually launch in a few weeks, which is still, like arriving into Amazon warehouses. I'm going to sell it, only as of right now in the United States. So my plans in the future are to launch a product 4, 5, and 6. And obviously it requires more cash flow. It requires more cash. So trying to solve that issue. Aside from that, I want to expand on to Shopify, and I'm learning to Shopify, actual the course now, and trying to expand that and trying to learn, that's a beast in itself, Shopify. Really trying to expand on that, and see how that works. And aside from that, it's launch more ASINs, if not new brands, and see what happens with other brands, and just like build and build and build and see how high I can go.
Yeah, man. So thanks so
Can't
much
wait.
for coming on. Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you, Dan. You too. It was great. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed the student success interview and you want to get started, you're tired of waiting, you want to achieve freedom, and you want to build that successful e-commerce business, click on the link down below to check out the Ecom Freedom Elite Mentorship Program. It is the highest rated e-commerce mentorship program online. We only work with a limited amount of students every quarter. We only take 200 people per quarter per course, whether that's Amazon or Shopify. So when you click on that link, if you see a wait list, then put in your email and you're going to get an email as soon as we are opening up the next round of mentorship students, which is every quarter, 200 people. So if you want to do this, you want to do it the right way, and you want to work with people who have blazed this path before and who have achieved success, you want to work with $1 Million mentors, go ahead and click on the link down below to put in your application to join the Ecom Freedom Elite Mentorship Program. We only work with people who fit the profile of somebody who would succeed. We know there's lots of different factors, and since we've worked with thousands of people and brought them to success, we know the kind of person who succeeds, and we only want to work with people who really know we can help. So check that out. Click on that link and put in that application form if you want to get started and you want to achieve freedom now. Thanks so much for watching. For the best freedom and online business information out there, for the best, truth, freedom, and for the information that will set you free, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.